Good morning. The January 6th, 2020 Board of Public Works meeting will now come to order. If you have not already done so, please turn off all electronic appliances and cell phones and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll begin with approval of the minutes of the December 16th, 2019 meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Keating, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. We'll now proceed with election of officers. Do I have any nominations for president?
Yes, I nominate Keith Harris as president.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I will now vacate the chair to our new president.
Thank you. Now I'll entertain motions for election for Vice President, Board of Works.
Mr. President, I nominate Ms. Virginia Keating.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, our first item on the agenda is Lori Dudek, Director of Human Resources, Franciscan Health, requesting to move the current bus stop from the west side of Franciscan Health, Michigan City Hospital, to a better and safer location on the east or the front or main side of the building. Come on up.
So we have a committee that has been working.
Yeah, and if you would, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Lori Dudek, 132 West Curtis Drive, LaPorte, Indiana. So we've been open for just about a year, and the bus stop is located on the back side. The intended use of the west side of the building really is for patients entering the ED and for employees coming in. There's no walkway from where the bus stop is, so as visitors are coming, they're oftentimes taking what appears to be the shortest route, but there may be snow, ice, rain, a lot of elements for them to navigate through. When they get inside the building, they're in the emergency department. So they can't really get out of the emergency department. That's a locked area from the rest of the hospital. So they need assistance with navigation, which causes our employees to help them navigate through the building. And pretty much we're always at capacity with patients, so that's a hardship. The front side of the building, we have the main entrance, and we've identified a location that would be right across from the front entryway. It's a good route for the bus, and we feel it would be much safer. It's much easier to keep that area completely clear of any snow or ice or anything of that nature, because we've got people monitoring that round the clock. So we just feel it would be much safer for the visitors coming.
Yeah, certainly. Questions?
Is there anything else involved with this other than putting a bus stop sign in front of the building rather than by the emergency room?
No, we will actually build a shelter so that people can sit right there and be ready when the bus gets there. But it's much closer in proximity. And part of what we did is we rode the bus. This is the committee behind me, and we took a ride on the bus, and we ended up also following the patients that went in to see where they were going. And it was difficult navigation for some of them. It's a long walk to get into the building, and some of them that are coming might have handicaps as well.
Thank you.
Well, I know that I can attest. I was, unfortunately had to visit the ER yesterday, and it is a distance to walk from the ER to, once my wife was transferred to a room to get up there and everything else. I've grown accustomed to what the route is, but I understand many probably don't know what that is. Do we have any other questions?
I think somebody wants to speak. That's Ms.
Oh.
Tillman.
Yes, please.
Robin Tillman, Transit Director, Michigan City. At this time, it's not actually feasible for us to increase the timing or the distance on the route. It may seem and appear simplistic. Public transit is to remain on public right-of-ways. Turning in parking lots is not recommended for safety reasons. Unfortunately, when the hospital was built, there was no consideration given to public transit. We did the best we could. We had to cut half the west side in order to reach the hospital and cut off Myers, which is one of our most popular bus stops. At this time, it's just simply not feasible to move the bus stop. Now, if we can get the hospital to create a walkway, sidewalks, things to assist us in better serving that area. In accordance with the FTA, if we are within 4 blocks of a facility, we are deemed to have served that facility. With the South Shore double tracking, I hate to bring up a different subject, the whole transit system is going to have to be revamped because our throughways are going to be cut off. At that time, we may be able to make accommodations to the hospital.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Yes, absolutely.
I haven't met Ms. Tillman, but I'm Trish Weber. I'm VP of Operations for the hospital. And the construction project was under my purview. And we did actually, I'm sorry if you felt like we didn't take into consideration the public transit. We worked with Ton and Blank in our construction and the layout of the facility. The difference in the space that we're talking about is in the staff driving in the bus was 34 seconds. It's 4 turns in the parking lot. There's 4 turns now in the existing location. So as far as turns and time, again, we're talking 34 seconds. We're talking about human safety and human lives here. And where it's currently located, the ambulances come through. So people are walking across when an ambulance may be in a hurry to drop off a patient in an emergent situation. So also the front desk is staffed 24 hours a day with an information employee who can assist and welcome them as they come through the front door. We also have a large covered coverage overpass kind of a thing so that the people that cross over will be out of the elements rapidly when they make that cross. And I think you have pictures in the packets that we submitted. So it really is a much safer situation. I understand the transit's limitations, but when we're talking about 34 seconds and the same number of turns in the parking lot, I really ask that you consider this for safety of the people in our community that don't have cars. Thank you.
We're talking about a 37-foot bus. It takes longer than 37 seconds to navigate that, especially traveling a double-lane parking lot where you have all types of obstacles. Through the emergency entrance where we currently serve, there are lanes, not parking structures, where we travel, and we turn on a one-sided lane where there's only parking on one side. We try to minimize the obstructions and the traffic when we do have to go into a parking lot. And as I said, we're not opposed to going to the other entrance. We simply don't have time to achieve that and travel safely throughout the complete route.
Mr. President, may I make a motion?
Absolutely.
Considering the sincere request of the Franciscan Hospital Group and the knowledge and expertise of our transit director, I'm going to make a motion that we table this for 30 days, during which time we will have an on-site meeting, not necessarily of the entire board, but I will, with your permission, I'll step outside the jurisdiction of the board, and as mayor, I will go out and take a look at it and report back to you. But I request that, make a motion that we table this for 30 days in hopes that during that time we can generate a resolution that's acceptable and workable for everyone. Please.
I'll second that motion.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And we'll put this on the pending list.
Yes, please.
Okay, next on the list, I think we just have to mention these. Michigan City Fire Department announces the retirement of Fire Chief Randy Novak effective January 1st, as well as the retirement of Deputy Fire Chief Jeff Cox effective January 1st as well. Next, we'll have claims and payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims and payroll as presented.
We have a motion to approve the claims and payroll. Do we have a second?
Mr. President, I'll second this, but I would like to make a recommendation that in the future, and I will assume responsibility for this, that in the spirit of transparency that we owe the public, I think that the claims should be stated at each meeting, which I will do with your permission.
Absolutely, that's not a problem at all.
Thank you. Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we'll move on to unfinished business. And first on the list is Michael Micah with Addison Northwest Partners. No, this was going to be reviewed by our sanitation department. And Council LePage, you were suggesting some changes?
Yes, Mr. President, I am still working on this request. I am going over suggested changes with Mr. Micah's counsel. I would also suggest that this board formally refer this to all the departments. I know sanitary has already issued their formal response, but I know there's been a lot of changes in the departments, and I would like all of the departments to provide some feedback on this.
Okay.
So I would make a recommendation that the board formally refer it to all the departments, noting that sanitary has made their response, and hopefully I can come back at the next meeting with better guidance on this.
Okay. So we will refer this then to the planning department, the city engineer, the water department, and the mayor, of course. And so do we need to make a motion to continue this to the next meeting? Or?
I don't believe you need to make a motion because it will be on your pending list, but if you could make a motion that it be referred to all the departments, noting the exception that sanitary has provided their formal response.
I'll make a motion to refer this matter to the departments for their input.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving along. James Kent purchased a city-owned property located on Main Street. It says that we had an offering price of $9,200. Bids are due in the clerk's office no later than Friday the 10th at 4:30.
That is correct. Just to refresh this board's memory, Mr. Kent approached the city about selling a city-owned lot. Because the city acquired it by virtue of the county commissioner's sale, the law provides that we can offer it to adjacent property owners. So my office did send out notice via certified mail to the adjacent property owners, informing them that the board is offering the parcel for sale at the offering price. And again, bids are due by January 10th, and I'll report back at our next meeting.
Thank you. Next is Vera Foster, 221 Emma Street, requesting lights at the park on Broadway, updated playground equipment, and has an issue with no one stopping at stop sign on Broadway. Now, this had been referred to the park department. I understand that Mr. Keenitz has something to say today.
Morning and Happy New Year to everyone. Jeremy Keenis, Michigan City Park Superintendent. And yes, you are correct. The Park Board did review this request and kind of give a little bit of background on this regarding Water Tower Park. As the Michigan City Park Department entered into an MOU with the CDBG and we are going to be receiving a grant in the amount of $250,000 for upgrades and renovation to Water Tower Park. We're expecting to receive that funding in the fourth quarter of 2020, but leading up to that, we will begin engaging the community, engaging the neighborhood, holding public meetings, probably on-site meetings as well, to get the feedback from the neighborhood. Because we want to be able to do as much as we can within the confines of that budget to enhance that park. One of the things that we will be looking at and at least considering is proper lighting, or enhanced lighting, if you will. We do have to take into consideration some of our park hours, some of our park rules, but we can also look at amending some of those things too. And I will be working directly with Mayor Perry on this, as well as the Michigan City Park Board. But I think it's important that we do as we do in all of our other parks when we've had renovations, is listening to the neighborhood, and trying to get them what they want, the product that they want, because it's their park and we want them to be proud of their neighborhood park. As far as the stop sign is concerned, I know there was some minor traffic enhancements that have been done in the past, but we will also continue to look at that too. But we're looking at adding, conceptually, what we have already talked about is adding 4 ADA parking spots that would actually cut into the park a little bit as opposed to just being right on the road there. Putting ADA compliant play surfaces and play equipment, as well as ADA compliant routes to those play surfaces and equipment, shelters, things of that nature. But again, working within the confines of that budget, and a lot of that budget will be taken up by that surfacing. So when we get to that point, and in future conversations, Mayor Perry, we will look at if there's a possibility to, because this is a non-matching grant, it's $250,000, but we would look at least entertaining a conversation to provide either match dollars or of some kind if there are any available. But if not, we will do the best we can under the within the confines of that budget, again, to give them a very good, very nice neighborhood park that they can be proud of. And I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions?
Yes, I do, Mr. President. I was unaware that there's the potential of getting a grant for that. I did do a visual inspection of the park myself last week when I was over visiting with our new fire chief. And what I did notice was that the playground equipment is not in disrepair, but it is filthy. There's algae, there's some fungus getting a hold on. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for this grant, it would be a wonderful thing if we could give that some attention. The playground equipment is really not very clean.
Absolutely, will do.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I think at this time, we could probably entertain a motion to take this off of our pending list since the park department seems to have such good control of the situation.
Do you agree with that, Ms. LePage?
Yes, you could remove it from the pending list.
I'll make a motion, Mr. President.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now we're going to move on to Cora Cambridge, 220 Gladys Street, requesting lighting on Gladys Street and sidewalks on Gladys Street. This has been referred to the Michigan City Police Department Traffic Division. Do we have anything to add?
Yes, good morning, Captain Jeff Lineski, Traffic Division. I went out there this morning and it does not appear that this has been addressed yet by NIPSCO. Assuming that our previous city engineer addressed this with NIPSCO, but if not, I will make contact with NIPSCO today to try to get an ETA of when that's going to take place.
Okay, thank you. So I guess I need to ask at this point, do we have a new city engineer yet?
Yes, we do. Mr. Jeff Wright, who I see is in attendance.
Oh, okay.
I'll discuss that with Mr. Wright.
Okay.
I would add that that area does need lighting. I have toured it myself, and that's very high on my priority list as mayor to attend to that. The areas north of the boulevard with additional lighting.
And I'd also suggest that we refer this back to our engineer's office with the new engineer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then we will keep this on the pending list until the matter comes to a conclusion. John Shalikian, 609 Franklin Street, no access to property and drainage issues. Planning Department, Skylar?
Good morning. Skylar York, Planning Director. I just spoke to Mr. Wright about this. We're going to be looking into it. I told him I brought him up to speed on what's going on there with the whole Town Center Drive, and we're going to look into it. And I give him a couple of weeks to he's going to go out and make a site visit, and I'll probably go out there with him. And I know that road's in a state of disrepair, and I think he has some ideas. So keep it on the list, but give us a couple of weeks to come back before you guys with a suggestion, and bring him up to speed with everything. That's okay.
Do we have any questions or comments?
No, Mr. President.
Okay, then, with that, we'll keep this on the list. Do we need a motion to do that, Amber?
No, it'll stay on your pending list
Okay.
until you make a motion to remove it.
Okay.
I think that would be what I would like to do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We create media marketing contract for 2019. Controller and marketing is Chris Cribbs from We Create. It looks like he gave a presentation, and this is continued until our Board of Works meeting on the 21st. So we'll just leave that there unless we have any comments right now.
No, sir.
Anything? No. Okay, very good. Harvey Picorni, 905 Colfax Avenue, request to replace or place gravel in the alleyway. Again, this is Planning Department, City Engineer, Central Services.
Good morning, Skylar York, Planning Director. I believe we made a decision on that. We're going to put I believe they put grindings in right now, but I believe the previous discussion was to pave that. And I'll bring Mr. Wright up to speed on what we're doing with that, because I think he should be involved with the paving and the thickness of that pavement, etc. From an engineering standpoint. I'll bring him up to speed
Very
on
good.
that. Yep.
Thank you. Then we will leave this on the list as well. And finally, our last item is order to demolish 710 West 10th Street, Alexander Ristevsky and Jason and Jane Stratton. Do we have anyone here to speak to this?
So, Mr. President, what has happened with this is we had a gentleman come forward, put down a performance bond so that we could continue and allow him to try to rehab the property. So I don't know, Ms. Downs, did he formally put the bond down in your office?
I Sue Downs, Building Commissioner. Mr. Stratton has been working with multiple agencies to get the performance bond, and they have contacted me for different information on it. It's not a matter of lack of credit on his part. It's a matter of this is something unique for them. As far as a house that's being demolished. In the meantime, he has made considerable effort to take care of the repairs on the house, and he is continuing to work toward the goal of the bond. It's just a matter of all of the agencies are uncomfortable with giving a performance bond on a house that's been ordered to be demolished.
Okay. And this is continued basically until our March
Right.
16th.
And he is making considerable progress on the house.
Thank you. Okay, that finishes unfinished business. Do we have any public comments? Public comments from anyone? Public comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. Board comments?
No, Mr. President.
Board comments? Okay. I just want to say thank you to the mayor for allowing me to sit on the board and play my role here today. So that'll end board comments. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.